Okay, Coach Steve here. Thank you for visiting Tri-State Tennis Tips. Today, we're going to be reviewing the 2019 Tennis Summit, Mehrban Iranshad's Tennis Summit. And it starts with Paul Annacone, and Iranshad asked some very good questions.
Hey everyone, I'm Mehrban Iranshad, and we're here at Tennis Summit 2019 to talk with legendary coach, TV commentator, and former ATP pro Paul Annacone about the top winning singles strategies used by Grand Slam champions. It's really a great pleasure and honor to have Paul on the summit. He was a guest last year, and just such an amazing guy, gives so much of his time to the sport. And I really do appreciate it so much. And if you don't know about Paul, or at least about his extensive background, Paul has coached several of the greatest tennis players on the planet, including Roger Federer, Pete Sampras, Sloane Stephens, and Tim Henman, and the list goes on. Paul actually guided Roger to 2 straight year-end championships in 2010 and 11, and a return to the world #1 ranking, as well as his 7th Wimbledon championship. Paul also led Pete to 7 Grand Slam titles, and Paul was an incredible player in his own right as well, reaching number 12 in singles in the world and number 3 in doubles. Paul is a Grand Slam champ himself. He won the Australian Open doubles title in 1985, the year I was born. You still look young to me though, Paul. Paul also reached the Wimbledon singles quarterfinals and won 3 singles and 14 doubles titles. Paul also published a fantastic book called Coaching for Life, where Paul talks about his experiences with these great champions that he's coached to give readers a blueprint on overcoming challenges and succeeding both on the court and in life, which is something that I like to talk about as well, as far as many lessons in tennis, transitioning and working for the rest of your life. Any challenges that you have. And Paul, as I mentioned, we frequently see him on TV and really love and enjoy his commentating and analyzation of the game. And you should definitely check out Paul's website at paulannacone.com. So with that being said, Paul, great pleasure to have you on the summit again. Thanks so much for your time.
Oh, thanks for having me. Always look forward to it.
Thanks, Paul. Really appreciate it. And
Iranshad asked some very good questions. And the first one is, what is it that what is your primary objective when you are teaching Roger Federer and Pete Sampras? Okay, so what Annacone said was, no matter who the student is, we start off with goals and objectives, meaning that you have to have long-term goals, you have to have short-term goals, and you have to have immediate goals like daily and weekly goals. Those would fall under the category of, immediate goals. And so he said that Roger and Pete would have these goals set so that as soon as one thing happened, they could rebound from it and get to the next thing, because it's on their agenda. Okay, so if you win or lose the French, or you win or lose the US Open, it's you got to think about your next goal. Okay, so if you, one of the things he says that Pete was able to recover from losing the French because he knew that the grass court was the next goal. And it was not, even though he was upset that he lost the French, he was ready to meet his next goal, because that's why you set goals like that, and you don't have to really be overwhelmed by a loss, especially at one that is so much money involved. I mean, goodness gracious, there's a lot, millions on the line on these tournaments. So then Mehrban asked Paul Annacone, he said, so then how does that translate to folks like recreational tennis players? who are playing, you know, when they can, and they're not because they have to or their livelihood depends upon it. And so he said it doesn't really matter which player or what level they're on, because the main goal and objective is to maximize your potential. So any goal and objective is made based on that fact, no matter what your level is. So how do you maximize your potential? Okay, and the answer I thought Paul Annacone gave was a very good one, because I agree with it and I can see it, and it's really not tennis related as much as it is just plain people related. Daily, it relates to your overall life. And that is, you have to figure out what it is you want to do and what it is you want to get out of what you're doing. And then you set and base all your goals around that. So for example, if you're a club level player, you might want to work on your stamina, because the last time you got beat, it wasn't because your technique or your tactics, it was because your endurance. It was hot out there and you know you couldn't hang. Or vice versa, you may have great physical endurance and you may have great tactics, but your technique is lacking. So you know your desire, what you want, may be to really be able to hit that follow through forehand, you know, with top spin, or a slice backhand, you know, like one of the pros. So you can set goals up and objectives based upon those types of things. And another thing he said was, you want to match your strengths to another person's weakness. So then Mehrban asked him, he said, well, then some of these players don't seem to have any weaknesses. You know, it's like they got a backhand, they got a forehand, you know, they got everything. So how do you match your strength to a person who's got all the strokes? And he says it's true. On that pro level, you know, it seems like they got the backhand, the forehand, the lob, the smash, you know, the drop shot, every shot. But even Roger Federer has weaknesses. And Annacone said that his biggest glaring weakness was what Nadal's strength, you know, exploited, which was his high backhand. Most people's high backhand is their weakness. So that was a great answer. He said, like, you know, everybody has a weakness. And he says Nadal's weakness is his serve. If you can exploit his first and second serve and really take it to him on that serve, then you have a chance to play offense in that point. Otherwise, Nadal's going to take it to you every shot. He's going to be playing offense, and you're going to have to defend better than his offense, and that might be not hard against a lefty with all that topspin. And he even has slice now, and now Nadal has a drop shot. So it's like, if you get deep into a point with him, your chances are going down. Your best chance is to, you know, deal with his weakness. So now your strength has to become return of serve. And so what I found out from this interview was that I am on target with what I've been doing in my videos and the way I've been approaching my game and helping my students approach their game, is because that's the first thing I started with, was goals and objectives. You know, yeah, I don't see goals like they do, but I know I have my own goals, and that's why I make these videos, because I want to see if I'm achieving my own goals and if my students are achieving their goals. So I'm not going to post my students' lessons on the internet. I never would do that. But when I go to a lesson, I have very when I teach a lesson, I have very clear understanding of where I want the student to be. And it's not just my understanding, but it's also their parents or their students' understanding of where they want to be. Because I could want that for my student, but my student might not want that. So that's just a totally different, so now we have to set goals and objectives based on what they want, because that's what's important.